Hey everyone, it's Karmyn with KT Vocal Studio, and today's lesson is just the basics. So today I want to cover a couple of things that I introduce my new students to kind of help you understand what needs to happen before you actually sing, before we do any warm-ups or before we do any singing of a song. And this part may seem kind of boring, but they're the things that you need. It's the alphabet you need in order to learn how to speak. So we're going to talk about posture today. We're going to talk about support and breathing, and we're going to talk a little bit about what goes on in your vocal cords. And you probably have had some of this if you've had vocal lessons, but I encourage you to listen because I may do a few things in my studio a little bit different that can actually help you sing better. Now, posture. In my studio, I don't have students stand when they sing or they do vocal warm-ups. If they're learning a new song, I do eventually have them stand, but when they're learning a new song and we're doing warm-ups, they sit down in a chair. Now, I get that personally from two different places. I studied bel canto in school, like everyone else, if they were a vocal performance major, and it was fascinating to me when they were talking about feeling their support that they felt like they were sitting down into their body. And the only way you can really do that is to actually sit down and learn how to sing with that feeling. And when you stand, miraculously enough, that carries over to when you're standing, and you can feel that feeling much easier. That it's hard to feel that if you're standing. Plus, when people stand a lot, sometimes they don't pay attention to the curvature of their spine, and if you don't do that, you can learn how to sing with a curved spine, and you can start misaligning yourself, and then it just causes a whole host of muscular issues that kind of have to be backtracked. So sitting in a chair makes a world of difference, and it kind of gets you on the fast track to singing properly and singing with good posture. Now, when I talk posture, it's going to be the same thing as most everyone else. When you're in your chair, you do not sit on the edge of your chair. You sit entirely on the chair, meaning your entire bum and at least half of your thighs are in the chair, okay? So that part, and what you want to do when you're in the chair is you want to still think a tall spine and comfortably expanded rib cage. Shoulders are rolled back and relaxed, nothing too crazy. I encourage all my students to do yoga of some kind. There are plenty of videos about that, about having good posture. So please seek that. I do have some people that I trust and know about that I have links on my channel page that you feel free to look at. Now, next I want to talk about breathing and support. Now, when I talk about support, I talk about your core similar to the way you do in yoga. And when you're singing, there is that support that's hard to feel. And so there are plenty of things to do, and I'll cover a couple of things to think about. But one thing that I do in my studio is you put your hand down where your belly button is, around your belly button, and you just simply go, hey, like you're calling out to someone, hey, hey, and you kind of feel that feeling down deep, and it's not anything you're purposely trying to do. It just naturally kicks in, and it's a natural support system that we want to take access to. Now, when I do some exercises, I will have some students lean back. For instance, if you do a bubble, and I'm just going to do a little bit of one, but sometimes you'll lean back and you'll feel that core taking access. So that's another way you can feel the core a little bit. Now, breathing is very important because if your posture is correct, your breathing is going to start being more correct as well. So what you want to think about, though, is your vocal cords, because your vocal cords are a fascinating, amazing valve. So the one thing that they do is that they make sure that they keep the food and liquids out of your lungs, because you only want air in your lungs, not food and liquids. So that's one valve that they do. They also make sound. We know this because we're singers and speakers. And so when you take a breath in, you have a little subglottal pressure because you hold the breath ever so slightly before you speak or you sing. That's just a natural occurrence. If you don't believe me, try to start paying attention, and it does happen. And then when you let the sound out, or you let the air out, then the cords vibrate and they regulate the sound. They also regulate something else, breathing. So I want you to start taking your idea away from your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is very important, but whether you're singing, or excuse me, whether you're breathing correctly or incorrectly, your diaphragm will still work. So if you focus on the diaphragm, at least I have noticed this in my own life, my own singing and speaking, and when I'm working with other students. I've been teaching for 20 years this year, which is crazy. But what I notice is when people focus on the diaphragm, they get tense, and any kind of tension is going to totally inhibit efficient singing. So start taking your mind off of your diaphragm and just think about relaxed breathing, and think about relaxing your vocal cords. So when you breathe in, and this is an extreme, and I do a lot of extremes to kind of give you a difference, but if you squish or you tense up your vocal cords, you're like and that's a tense sound, and it's also tension, and then you're just, the air going through is not going to be easy, natural, free air. We want everything to be free. So if you breathe in that way, you're going to be tense, and so when you sing, you're going to be tense as well. So you want to relax that and take an easy breath like this. So go ahead and practice that a couple of times, just taking some easy breath, relax your glottis or your vocal cords, and just breathe. Now, another way you can help feel all the way down is something that I call hugging a tree. So I want you to get your arms and feel like you're hugging yourself, or some people like hugging a huge tree. So whichever is easiest for you, but I want you to focus on where your diaphragm is connected to your back, okay? So it's connected all the way around. So when you do this, or you feel like you're hugging a tree, I want you to make some friction with your lips, nothing crazy, keeping your larynx very open, and I want you to feel like you're sucking air in like this. Do it one more time, and as you breathe in, feel it going all the way down into your back. It may be a new place you've never even felt before. So hug yourself or feel like you're hugging a tree. And give in to that expansion in your back, and then just let the air out. Now, another thing I want you to do is when you're breathing in this time, I want you to S out like a leaky tire. And I want you to feel that expansion in your back as you do that. And don't try to force anything. What I want you to do is try not to deflate like a balloon. I want you to try to stay open and expanded in a free way, not like you're pushing yourself to stay open. So take a breath in like this again. Do it with me. Hold it, and now S out. And again, don't try to squish all the air out, just let it come out naturally. And that's just the way you can feel down here. Now that doesn't do anything for your throat or for your voice because there's no sound coming out. You can do a Z if you want to. But for right now, let's not worry about that. Let's just focus on how to feel that full breath. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is what's going on the inside. So here are some photos I want to share with you, and these photos are also on my website on ktvocalstudio.com. Okay, so in this photo, you're going to notice some green arrows, and they're pointing to the two muscles that I want to talk about. One is called the thyroarytenoid muscle, and the other is the cricothyroid muscle. Now, the TA, the thyroarytenoid muscle that we want to talk about, is mostly responsible for your low notes. And so those are like talking and speaking and that kind of thing, just that you do every day. Now, when you want to get higher, something else happens, and the cricothyroid muscle kicks in, and that creates this thing called the tilt. And so if you look down at this other picture about the cricoid cartilage and the and how this tilt looks like from the side, you'll notice that it does this rocking sensation. Now, when that happens, the cricoid muscles help engage the vocal cords to get longer and thinner. So when you think of low notes, you want to think short and stocky, and then when you think higher notes, they're going to be longer and thinner, and that's just a natural occurrence. Now, the vocal cords, where they come together, it's kind of like a V, and that bottom part of the V, and you'll see the cartilage in the photo, is right here where your larynx is. So when you think about singing or getting higher and that tilt happening or that rocking happening, it's a backward feeling. So the rock happens and your cords actually move behind you or move back. So it's not an up and down thing, it's kind of like a back thing. And so if you just understand that that's what's physically happening naturally on the inside, then that'll kind of help your body do what it naturally wants to do. So I know this was quick and very quick basic exercise video, but I hope that you understand a little bit about how to do certain sounds with your voice, with whatever warm-ups you're doing, but especially with the warm-ups that I'm teaching. And if you have any questions, please, ask me in the comments, and I will try to do my best to get back to everyone. And if you ever want to take a voice lesson from me, please get in contact with me, and I can at least talk to you specifically about things in detail, because you may not feel certain things like everyone else feels. And case in point, I like to have people focus on your vocal cords and what they're doing, because whether you're singing a low note or a high note, it's your vocal cords making the sound. Some people talk about chest voice and head voice, and that's perfectly fine. All that is how your body understands acoustically how you make a sound that's low and make a sound high. So instead of focusing, oh, I got to sing in my mask, don't worry about that. Just know, oh, I'm in my upper range, because I don't want you to imagine that the vocal cords magically move anywhere else in your body. They don't. They stay right there. So that's where you need to think about your chords. And yeah, if you have, again, any questions, let me know. If you'd like to take a lesson with me, get in touch with me. I would be honored to have you as a student. And have a great day, and look forward to seeing you in the next video.